Let's kick off episode number 6 by looking at all of the transfers that have happened for the final season of the West Brom save. Let's kick things off by looking at the one player who left the club in season 6. That was Kane Barros. We had a bid of £15 million coming for him. It came from Al Wada out in the Middle East. Now was the time to take the bid. Bit sad that he'd been with me since the start, but we'd already placed him really with Decore and a few other midfield pieces that we bought in, so we allowed him to leave. So with him going, we needed a few players. I decided not to go too mental. The first of which that we bought in was Omar Sole. He was a sound purchase. I think he can slot in well at the back, and even if he isn't a starter, definitely can be a rotation option. And the big signing of season 6 is Ousmane Diomande. He's the one that completes the defensive package and hopefully will allow us the stability now to pump that goal difference even higher, with Waper scoring the goals and Diomande blocking the goals. So that's the transfer business. It's so short this time. We really wanted to get to the point and get on and try and win. Let's have a look at the competitions. So to kick things off, let's have a look at the Carabao Cup, where we entered at the third round stage. We would play Crystal Palace in the third round and beat them 5-0. In the fourth round, we would be drawn against Swindon Town, where we would beat them 2-0. We would then play in the quarterfinals against Southampton. We got lucky here. We had a 3-3 draw in the game, but did win on penalties. Then in the semi-finals, we were paired off against Ipswich Town, where we won 5-3 on aggregate. And we would play against Arsenal in the final, and we would beat them 3-2 to lift the Carabao Cup once again. Let's have a little look at that final. So goals from Cassidy, Waper and Cole Palmer, getting us across the line after we blew a 2-goal lead. We had 10 shots, scored 8. Had shot 8 shots on target. We had an XG of 1.92 and we won 3-2 to lift the Carabao Cup once again. In the FA Cup, we would enter at the third round stage, where we would play against Blackpool. Embarrassingly, we needed a replay to beat them 3-2. In the fourth round, we would be paired off against Middlesbrough, where we would exit the competition, losing 3-1 in the fourth round. For the first time, we would be playing in the Champions League this time, and we would go on in the league phase to finish in 12th place, where we would play 8 games. We would win 4 against Wolfsburg, Ludogorets, Rangers and Real Madrid. We actually beat Real Madrid in the Champions League. We drew 2 against Inter and Ajax, and we lost 2 against Chelsea and Napoli. We had an 8-goal difference and finished on 14 points, which was just 1 point behind Trabzonspor and 2 points behind Chelsea and Real Madrid. That meant we would go into the knockout playoff round, where we would be drawn against Aston Villa, and sadly our first Champions League adventure would end in the knockout playoff round. That meant that all our attentions turned back to the Premier League, where we were looking to go one better than last season, but sadly we couldn't do it. We finished 5th this time. I think the Champions League being added to the domestic cups was just one push too far for this squad. We finish in 5th place. We get 67 points this time. If we break that down, we played 38. We won 21. We drew in 4. We lost 13. We had a 28-goal difference and finished on 67 points. Sadly, there aren't really any stats to go over, as Malumbi is the only player on the list there, and he was top of the yellow cards tree. So, season 6 comes to an end with a 5th place in the Premier League, a Champions League campaign to be proud of. For the first attempt, we got out of the league phase. We got knocked out by an English team in the playoff round. We finished in the 4th round of the FA Cup, and we won the Carabao Cup for the 2nd time. If we were to continue the save into a 7th season, which we're not going to, but if we did, the board would back us once again. They would have given us £64.5 million to go out and spend once again. They would have given us a wage budget of £2.2 million with about £100,000 in wiggle room there. But the overall balance still is only £20 million. So whilst it's okay going out and spending the transfer budget every single season, the club's revenue coming back in simply isn't enough to be sustainable, I don't think. In terms of the board and the club vision, overall, we are untouchable. We get an A plus finally from the board. The actionable objectives were work within the wage budget, which we did, spend the original transfer budget, which we did, increase the commercial revenue, they were satisfied, and they're still expanding the stadium. At the end of the current season, they wanted to reach the Champions League proper, we did. Record a top half finish in the Premier League, we did. Be competitive in the FA Cup and be competitive in the Carabao Cup, well, we won that. In terms of the board feedback, make the most of set pieces, they're pleased. Play entertaining football, pleased. Play high tempo pressing football, they were pleased. From the supporters though, we only get a C plus, which is strange because we did really well. We gave a good account of ourselves and we had another trip to Wembley with a trophy. So play attacking football, pleased. Direct football, satisfied. Make the most of set pieces, pleased. Entertaining football and counter-attacking football, we passed those. Be competitive against Aston Villa. Once again, we finished below them, so they are now disappointed. And get the better of our rivals, Birmingham, and finish above Wolves in the league, which we did, so they're delighted. So, all in all, a C plus from the supporters and an A plus in the final season from the board is really good feedback. So the final thing to do is check in and have a look at how our starting 11 would look if we were going into the next season. This is how we will leave the team, and I think it's a really well structured team. It's Goncalves at the back, Roth at left back, Diomande, Van Hecke and Arthur. Then you've got Decore, Cassidy and Neto, Lewis Gilherme, Cole Palmer and Wiper up the top of the pitch. It's really good. It's got young players, it's got experienced players, it's got attacking, aggressive players. I think that we've done a really good job of this, and I really enjoyed this rebuild. Getting some of these wonder kids and fitting them all into the jigsaw puzzle, changing the tactic, it's been fantastic. If we look at Wiper and show you his end of save stats, he has been fantastic. Sadly, that record of scoring 20 goals in every Premier League season did go in the final season, but you absolutely cannot fault him. 108 goals from 184 games across his career. It's been absolutely brilliant. Looking at Cole Palmer, he has again been a really good contributor for goals, assists. 36 appearances, 9 goals, 8 assists across this season, 16 goals in 41 in all competitions. On the other side, Lewis Gilherme is now starting to come towards the peak of his powers. Look at those physical stats. Whenever you've seen a West Brom player that is valued up to £91 million. Career stats then at the club, he spent 4 seasons, 34, 13, 4 and 5 in the final season in terms of goals, assists, player of the match awards, 19 goals from 42 games across all competitions. We have players like Neto, who has really started to develop himself into a midfield maestro, 26 years old now. We also have Cassidy, who again, as I said, bounced around a little bit. It's kind of found his home now, valued at £67 million, has been a pivotal part of our team. Decore, been Mr. Reliable, 29 years old, and another one, like I said, that bruising midfielder that can really help out. Diomande slotted in well next to Van Hecke, and our wing backs were sorted. Roth has been really good, 24 years old still developing, and on the right hand side, Arthur has been dependable and reliable. So it's been really a fantastic save. That first 11 is something I am very proud of. If we go into the club info finally and go to history and overview, let's look at the trophy haul then before we round it off. So we couldn't add to their league title, which was in 1920. Sadly, no post-war titles for West Brom. But we did add to the FA Cup haul. We now sit on 6 with the 2026 FA Cup win. In terms of the Championship, we also won the Championship in the first season, so the 23-24 season. Carabao Cup, we have added 2 of those in 28 and 29. And in the Community Shield, we would go on and add to that total by beating Manchester City in season number 2, I think it was. So all in all, it's been an absolutely fantastic save. West Brom are a top club. They aren't run very well, I have to say. They've had ownership issues, and their players, in terms of real life, not to slag West Brom off at all, but they have older players on bigger wages at the start of the save that you really need to kind of chop down and start building a younger squad going forward. Certainly if they want to get into the Premier League in real life, I think that they need to go with youth. But West Brom and this save has been absolutely brilliant fun. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you want a challenge, West Brom really are a challenge, and they are a great team to manage in FM24. Right then, if you're still with me at this point of the video, firstly, a big thank you. Secondly, you could hit the like and subscribe button just to help the channel out. That's all I ask. Please just like and subscribe. It's been fantastic watching the channel grow. It's all down to people like yourself who come along and interact with the channel. And once again, I cannot thank you all enough. Before you do go, don't forget there are other things on the channel. Let's plays, hints and tips, tutorials, wonder kids. Try and cover so many different topics right here on the channel. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching the West Brom save. I'll see you on another video very soon.